All right, good morning, everybody. Watch the State of the Address at all. Now, there's a lot of uproar and applause, and it's really hard to hear her, but she is mouthing that. She's saying, you are a murderer. She's talking to the President of the United States. You caused murders. You caused murders. You got to kick her out of Congress, man. She has to be kicked out of Congress. Booted out. You don't do that at the State of the State. Now, I know it's hard to hear her because of all the uproar and everybody clapping and everything else. But we know what she was saying. You don't say that. If you don't want to be a part of the State of the Union, don't show up. 50 of your cohort Democrats didn't show up. They staged some kind of a counter event, which I think they did it outside. I didn't even watch it. And nobody was there. It was just such a joke. The Democratic Party has become such a joke. Okay? But it was a strong speech. Trump talked for an hour and 48 minutes, which is a record. And he does a great job. I don't see him screwing up. And he's almost 80 years old. He's pushing 80. And he does a fantastic job. And he has got that charisma. He's got that way of speaking. It just holds you. So it was an hour and 48 minutes, but actually with the time that it takes for him to mosey in and shake everybody's hands and everything, it went, easily 2 hours. We did it live here on this podcast show, and we were having some fun with it. I want to thank Heather Hill and Stu Moats. Heather Hill is running for governor of Ohio. Stu Moats is running as her lieutenant governor. And I happened to see them in the chat room, and I said, hey, you got the link. You've been on the show before. Connect with us. We can all talk together about what's happening. So every time there was applause, I would just turn the audio down, and we could make a comment or two about what Trump had said. It was a lot of fun. I do want to thank them for doing that. And we had a lot of fun doing it as well. Another thing that was live streamed last night, and you can go on to, I'll tell you an easy way to find some of the stuff we do, a really easy way. Just go to our Facebook page, Ohio Political News. Dom Scaria, who runs it, already here in Cuyahoga County. But Dom, I know that Dom, short for Dominic, put forth a ton of work. You cannot have that many people speak. You cannot have that many politicians in a room, and first of all, not start a knife fight, okay? But secondly, to have them all speak and to get it all done in an hour and a half. There was a boatload of people that spoke. They kept it quick, they kept it to the point, and they kept it moving. You even had to bring some people in through the Zoom, the overhead projector in the Zoom, and there were a lot of people in attendance. A lot of people. That whole room, that whole community room in Brecksville. Big, beautiful, lots of property tax money to build it. But that Brecksville community center is just first class. It's really nice. Really, really nice. So I want to just expound a few minutes on that too, because it was good. It was good. Now, you had a lot of local judges that spoke. And like I said, if you want to see it, go to our Facebook page. Just go to the Facebook page. You'll see it. Scroll down a little bit, and you can watch it. Fast forward because it's 2 hours long, so you can fast forward through a little bit. But we were broadcasting it live last night. So it started off a lot with the local judges. A lot of them talked for a few minutes. They weren't given a lot of time, but we don't want to listen to a lot of local judges talk, sorry to say. But there were a lot of them that spoke, and it's good to get there, get your face in front of the place. Then the Ohio Supreme Court justices had to speak, and some of them traveled a long way. Ron Lewis, he traveled a long way. He's got about a 2.5 hour drive to get there, talk for 12 minutes, and then take a 2.5 hour drive back home. So I got to give these Ohio Supreme Court justices, the Republicans, a lot of credit, because it's a statewide race, and you got to just, between now and the primary, because there's only going to be one justice picked for the Republican Party out of these guys. And so Ron Lewis was there, And he does a good job. He always does a good job. Colleen O'Connor, who has the perfect name. Colleen O'Connor. That's a name that registers, especially in Cuyahoga County. She'd win in Cuyahoga County area, I think. She does really good as well. She always a nice presence to see her and everything like that. Andrew King, strong conservative. Now, he zoomed in, and the Zoom wasn't working, so he just did the audio. He just did an audio, but he's running. So those were some of the Supreme Court justices for Ohio that were there, and they talked. And it's just so hard to differentiate yourself when you're a Supreme Court justice from one from the other. It's just so hard. What are you talking about? You can't really give much of your own personal opinions because you're a judge. You can't give out information on how you would vote in a certain way in a particular case or anything because you're a judge. And so it's not like they can't really say much. So good luck. May the best man or woman win. And they all did a fine job. Secretary of State race. This was, of course, this one has really been garnering a lot of attention. You got Robert Sprague and Marcel Stribich going at it, battling at each other, and both of them talked. Robert Sprague, Robert Sprague's very solid. He does a good job. He's not going to embarrass himself. He's not the flashiest guy in the world either, though, but he is solid, and that's good. He's got the endorsement from the Ohio Republican Party. And he's got a good donor base. He is currently the treasurer of the state of Ohio. He's a statewide treasurer candidate, and he wants to become Secretary of State. Biggest job Secretary of State has is with voting. And we know how important the integrity of voting is. That is the highest priority for the Secretary of State. Keep the elections accurate, and don't let them become corrupted. So Allison Russo is the Democrat that wants to become Secretary of State. We cannot allow a Democrat to become Secretary of State because, we don't know what would happen. Marcel Stribich, he came all the way from Cincinnati. That's a long haul just to speak for 12 minutes and then turn around and head back home. But he does a good job. He can light up a room. He does have that charisma, and he can definitely light up a room. And he did a fantastic job. So that's going to be an interesting race as those two pound each other's heads, and we'll see what happens. But again, it's for the primary, and there's not much time. Time is running out. The other race for treasurer, the all-exciting treasurer position, Christina Rogner and Jay Edwards. And both of them spoke. Christina's a very tall woman. Very attractive, but very tall, 6 foot. And she said she has a daughter who's 6'2". It's like, whoa. But anyhow, she's solid as a rock. She's a lot like Sprague. And then you got Jay Edwards, who, again, can exert some charisma and try to ignite the room. Jay Edwards is a former state representative. So those two will be battling it out. One interesting note with Jay Edwards, he said that he wants to abolish property taxes if he becomes treasurer. I don't know what the treasurer, if they have any kind of power to sway that, but it's good to hear a statewide candidate saying that they want to abolish property taxes. I like that. And that is something that we have to work towards, and we do here on Ohio Political News. We talk about that on our Sunday night podcast all the time. As a matter of fact, Brian Massey, I haven't talked to him yet, but he was at an event last night, and it sounds like all the world is going to end if we abolish property taxes. And you're hearing this from the state, and you're hearing this from accountants and auditors and county auditors. It ain't going to end, people. The state of Ohio has a $100 billion budget, and that's not including local property taxes. So we can find a way to pay these services, and we will. If you go back 5 or 6 years ago, our state budget was about $25 billion less than it is right now. $25 billion. That's more than all the property taxes combined that are collected. So why did we all of a sudden, the state, increase its budget by $25 billion over the last 6 years. What's going on there? No, it's going the wrong way. You got to start doging. And I'll tell you who has the best property tax proposal of all. It's in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis is going to get it done. And he is saying that they're going to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot. They're going to do it through the legislature, which is a lot easier than trying to get all these signatures. Brian Massey and the whole group, it's got to get over 400,000 legit signatures just to get it on the ballot. But if the lawmakers do it, like they're going to do in Florida, it's so easy. They vote, and then it's going to be on the ballot. And his proposal is that on your primary residence, you don't pay any property taxes. On your primary residence that you live in, everybody's got to live somewhere, you don't pay any property taxes. Any kind of income producing property, you do pay a property tax on. I don't have a problem with that at all. If you own a factory, you got a business, yeah, you can pay property taxes. Somebody should tell that about the Cleveland Browns and their football stadium. Or better yet, maybe we should be informing data centers that they should start paying property taxes. But, that's beside the point. So, anyhow, get a phone call. Just do this live. We have some fun with it. I just want to wrap this up real quick about the property taxes, and that is that actually, yeah, maybe I should have brought him on. I just want to finish this up with the property taxes. In Florida, they are going to push that through where you do not pay on your primary residence. And that is something I think we can all get behind here in Ohio. We should get behind something like that. But the people have spoken. And this ballot initiative is going to get on the ballot. And unless the lawmakers here in Ohio decide to do something, unless they decide to make some drastic changes to Ohio's property taxes, this is going to get on the ballot and it's going to pass. And then the meatballs that we have as legislators are going to have to now finally do something. Okay? And remember, they work for us. We forget this all the time. They work for us. We don't work for them. We are not employees of the state. The state workers are employees of us, the taxpayer. And that's something that has to be reminded to everybody. Frank LaRose was also there, but not in person. He was on the Zoom, and he came in and he talked. And, I give him credit. He does not have an opponent, but yet he still wanted to be a part of the meeting. And he said he's got a tough opponent. He's running for auditor. And I'm thinking, who's the tough opponent? And it's the mayor of Maple Heights. So that's going to be his tough opponent, which is not a tough opponent at all. He will easily win, so he's going to be the auditor, without a doubt. So that's some of the things that took place. And like I said, if you want to catch any of this, go to our. I think the easiest place might be just go to our Facebook page, Ohio Political News, and find out what's happening there. All right. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. God bless.